Okay, everybody, we're back. I'm back, Chapter 9. Looking at Chapter 9, and this is the continuation of Chapter 8 in talking about the 10 sectors or the 10 elements, subcategories that are in the rec industry, or what make up the rec industry, what makes it happen. And so if you look in Chapter 9, Slide 3 is there on Blackboard, Slide 3. And there's 5 categories of specialized service, and this is the remaining of the 8. And what we're talking about right now is therapeutic recreation. And therapeutic recreation is a very interesting concept. It's very popular these days. It goes by a variety of different names, but it's always been around. And this is what it is using recreation for therapeutic purposes. It could be physical therapy, mental therapy, psychological therapy, spiritual therapy. And you'll see there on this the early development of therapeutic recreation, hospital and rehabilitation centers for people with physical disabilities, people with mental illness, okay, and then special schools for developmental disabilities, different types of developmental disabilities. On Slide 6, that's important to note. Slide 6 is you'll have every one of those on your test: custodial, medical, clinical, therapeutic, education, community. This is important to know what these mean. And the custodial model are simply employed to lighten the atmosphere and improve the morale. Lighten the atmosphere and improve the morale. Custodial is cleaning up. So if a therapeutic recreation service, say a hospital outpatient center, provides the custodial model, that means that they're using recreational activities to lighten the atmosphere, to clean up, to improve the morale. Okay. If a hospital outpatient program uses the medical clinical model, what it is this plan is specifically designed to help treat illness. So some type of recreational activity or recreational experiences are used specifically to treat illness under the medical clinical model. Specifically to treat illness. Under the therapeutic model, what it is about creating a healthy environment and dealing with stress. It's about creating a healthy environment and dealing with stress is your therapeutic model. Education and training model. This is more about vocational training, and this model is heavily used with folks with mental disabilities. And so the educational and training model, they use recreation and recreational activities to bring about, to help those that are developmentally delayed, using various types of recreational activities for vocational training to help them goal-oriented, to help them with job placements. And if you go to any of your Fry's food stores or your Safeway food stores, you have an educational and training therapeutic recreational model in play right there. There are many people in that store employed by those organizations that are under an educational and training model that's using therapeutic activity, which is working at the grocery store to assist in lifelong goals, recreational goals, and personal goals. And lastly is the community, and that's for the community at large. And it's all about helping the short-term client or the short-term patient return to community life. Community model is about someone who was injured, whether it be mentally or whether it be physically, but has a strong pathway to recovery, a short pathway to recovery. And so community model therapeutic activities are more used to help that individual get back on their feet and back into everyday life. And they don't have something that's debilitating that will be there for a long period of time. And so those are 5 ways that therapeutic recreation services utilize currently. If you look at Slide 6, you have the expansion of the field. This is where therapeutic recreation programs exist. Hospitals, nursing homes, schools and residential centers, people with developmental disabilities,
schools, treatment centers, and state prisons. These are all places you'll find therapeutic recreation service, where any way they can use recreation to bring about learning and growth with people with all sorts of challenges. Okay. If you look at slide 8, it talks a little bit more about that, as well as slide 9, 10. Most of that's not on the test. Slide 12 is, though. Make sure that you take a look at that. Use of technology and assistant devices. This is part of the therapeutic recreation service, where if somebody is physically injured and they have the opportunity to use a prosthetic, and to go through the training with that prosthetic, which would be therapeutic recreation, which gets them back to everyday life much quicker using that prosthetic. And of course, we watched the survivor tale about Aaron Ralston, and so that's a perfect example right there on slide 12 of someone who is fully capable of returning to everyday life, as what we would say normal everyday life. And that person had to go through training with being able to use the prosthetics, technology that was available to him, and so he's back doing what he loves doing with the prosthetics. Okay, slide 15. So if you can find slide 15. Slide 15 is talking about armed forces recreation. This is pretty neat because I know that prior to my college experience, I really didn't know that this happened. But it's a pretty exciting deal that goes on. There's 5 program elements for armed forces recreation. And it's not slide 16, so there are 5 program elements. But before we get to that, what I have is armed forces recreation is really about preserving, protecting, and increasing the family. That military is about family, and that most of the recreation that goes on, especially the large events, are all family focused. That the military welcomes family, supports family, and wants the family unit to be encouraged and to feel stable while one or both members are currently serving in the military. And with that focus, it changes what recreational offerings are available to military members and their families. And you can see there on slide 15, enhance physical and mental well-being of servicemen and women, fitness, cohesion, family well-being, quality of life, recreation awareness, and outreach. These are the goals. Very lofty goals, very, considering the amount of funding they have, but very excellent goals and a very good substance and a good basis for the recreation that is involved in the military. And what we're looking at 5 ways that athletes can participate in your traditional sports. So it's a little different than slide 16 because we're not going to go to that one quite yet. And these are program elements. One is your basic introduction to sports skills, that you may be able to find that at the base. I'm certain it's not all bases and not all outfits, but you can find basic introductions to sports skills. Second, you have minimum supervision, kind of a self-directed sports experience. Third is an intramural program, where personnel assigned to a particular base compete with others at the same base. Some fun intramurals, just like you play at a university level. 4 is an extramural program, where you get to play other bases in whatever sport you're participating in. And then 5 is a varsity program, and this is the high-level sports program. Actually, in one of my Rec 120 classes, I had a retired Navy officer who was in the varsity program. He was so good at men's court volleyball that he went all over the world representing the Navy and playing other teams. He went to China many times, and he went to Russia, and he went all over the place
playing volleyball for the Navy, and that's basically what he did for years. So it's a very interesting program. You obviously have to be very good. And then when he was done with volleyball, he was still an officer, but he spent most of his time doing that. So that's an interesting military career, a little bit different than what most people expect or what's advertised on TV. Okay, so looking at slide 16 now, you have the program elements here. Of course, you have fitness programs. Military folks need to stay in shape and to be fit. Second, you have outdoor recreation, where certainly there are military members who enjoy outdoor recreation, such popular sports such as skiing and boating. You have family recreation, and this includes your big 4th of July events and things that the military families can do together. And then there's some resorts and some community relations. There are actually places that a family can go, certain types of resorts that are run by the military that they can go and they can participate in. They're very, very good, very well priced because they are set up for military families. So it's a good service. Looking down at the fiscal support for the Armed Forces Recreation is obviously low on the totem pole. When there's not a lot of financing going to the military, a lot of those programs going to get cut. And that's it. I'll be back to talk about employee service recreation.